You're listening to the Career Musician Podcast with creator and host, Nomad. With 20-plus years of experience in the music industry, Nomad has done just about everything to earn a living as a career musician. From being music director to celebrity artists, playing iconic arenas and stadiums, composing for film and TV, and even playing your average local club gigs, he's done it all. Nomad's mission is to empower musicians across the globe with strategies for a sustainable career while blasting stereotypes, and to bring you tried and true wisdom from his colleagues in this crazy business we call music.
My next guest for the Career Musician Podcast has moved all the way from the great USSR. That's right, Russia. At the age of 10, he came over to America with his family and they settled in Boston, Massachusetts. Then he made his way to New York, where he really cut his teeth in the music scene, learning how to do the old New York hustle and then moving out west to continue with the LA shuffle. And now, Dmitry Gorodetsky is the bass player for none other than Charlie Puth. In addition, we're talking 50 Cent, TLC, Rita Ora, Wyclef Jean, Fantasia, Benét, Kenny Lattimore, Lauryn Hill, and yes, the list goes on. The amazing part about Dmitry is that he's a super humble cat and he knows the ins and outs of being a career musician. Dmitry Gorodetsky.
Yes.
The tall bassist.
Yes, sir. We're here.
Welcome to the Career Musician Podcast, bro.
Thank you, man. Great to be here. Great to see you.
Man.
Glad we get to hang.
So mutual. This feeling is so mutual.
Yes,
First
sir.
of all, I love your handle, tall bassist. It's like the perfect description
Thank you, man.
of who you are. I mean,
Complete accident. It came about as a total accident.
really?
Yeah.
Really?
A little story about that if you want to hear. So, we have passwords on everything.
Yes.
From your bank account to whatever, Netflix, everybody, you got to either come up with a bunch of different ones.
Right.
And lose your mind trying to remember them or whatever. So I was coming up with a password for something. I think it was Instagram.
Right.
Or something. And I was like, oh man, what dumb thing could I use for this time that I won't forget? Tall bassist, because I'm a tall bassist. That was my password. It wasn't my handle. And so it worked. Nobody had used it, whatever.
Yeah.
And so next time I went to open an Instagram account years ago. This was years ago.
Right, of course.
Because my friends were like, everybody's on this thing.
Yeah,
you got to
IG,
do it.
yeah,
Yeah,
of course,
social media. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to call myself on this dumb thing? I'm just going to use the same so I don't forget. Tall bassist, right? Thinking I'm going to get shut down because there's all these numbers and underscores and dashes that people get suggestions
Oh, right.
for because your name's been taken. Nothing has been taken.
You got it.
So it was just like, Instagram was like,
I love it.
It's legit. So that just stuck. And then when I realized how slightly catchy and sort of works,
Yeah.
Because my name is so awkward to spell, Dmitry Gorodetsky, that's a lot,
Right.
and it's not Googleable. So,
Right.
you know what I mean? So I had to get around my name just having this immigrant ring to it.
Right. I love how you just said Googleable.
Yeah, that's not a word. I made that
But
up.
it is a word now.
But you knew what I meant.
Because I know exactly what you
You
mean.
know what I meant.
Yeah, that's not
Yep.
Googleable.
Googleable.
But I remember asking about that because you played on a song of ours and I had to put your credits in.
Yep.
And I was like, so the spelling,
Right.
now I've seen DIM, but yours is DM.
Yeah,
I-T-R-Y.
Yep,
Yeah.
T-R-Y. Yeah, so and the last name only gets worse.
Right.
So it only gets more difficult from there. I blame my parents.
But see, I pay attention to that stuff because my last name has always been butchered.
Yeah.
So like even today when I was making the session, I checked the spelling in my phone contacts. It's Gorodetsky.
Correct.
Gorodetsky.
You're nailing it.
Come on.
You're nailing it.
These things
You
are
got the
important to
gig,
me.
You got the gig. The man is hired, ladies and gentlemen. He's hired.
These things are important to me. All right, well, welcome. I'm
it.
so glad you're here.
Yes, sir.
And man, we have so many good things to talk about. So from Soviet Union,
Yes.
Russia is what you say.
Yeah, I
But
just
technically
simplify it.
it's-
Yeah, it's like a bunch of countries stuck together. That's what Soviet Union was.
Right.
You know.
Okay.
But anyways, so I came over from there at the age of 10 with my family and with my parents, everybody. And we kind of settled in Massachusetts first.
Right.
Because we had family there already. And so I did my musical growing up there too, first in Boston, because that was the nearest big city that had tours coming through and great musicians and schools and Berkeley and all that stuff.
So you were doing some gigs in Boston.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. For years, all over Mass. And then 10 years in New York,
Right.
which was like the real school for me.
Yeah.
You know, and that really kicked my butt. And I did a lot of growing, a lot of learning, and playing upright and electric, different genres, and yeah, that's like an institution in itself, you know. And I felt like that got me ready for LA. You know, it's almost like it would have been wrong to move to LA earlier. You know, it was like the timing was right. The timing was really right, and I got confirmations as soon as I got to LA that this is where I'm supposed to be, and that this was the right move. Do your little 10-year bid in New York.
That's right.
Get yourself together personally and musically, you know, graduate to another level of musicianship, and then bring yourself to the place that has the recordings and the sessions and the tours and the wave that it is right now, which is amazing what's happening out here.
Well, I feel like earlier you said, and I'm sorry for the repeat, the technical difficulties, Pro Tools, but you said earlier you didn't go to music school, so New York, that stint in New York was your music school.
For sure.
And I couldn't agree with that more.
Yeah.
I think that New York really is almost, it should be, what do you call it, mandatory. It should be a mandatory, right?
Yeah,
residency.
it's like Mecca for musicians.
Yeah, and because you really cut your teeth, like you said, but people are no bullshit there.
Yeah,
so
they won't tolerate
jive.
anything, any fakeness. Really, a lot of fakeness in general is not tolerated. That's why the culture is so different. You know, over there is just the phoniness doesn't fly. Cats will call you out on your fake shoes or your fake jazz licks. They'll call you out on all that
fake
stuff.
Jazz licks. I like it.
And they'll be like, "Oh, you fluffing the changes on bar 3.
Yeah.
So you kind of meandering, bro. What's up with the bridge?
Right.
You don't know it?
Yeah. And instead of just like saying, "Can you play the bridge?" What, you don't know it? You didn't learn it?
Oh yeah, super.
Right
in your face.
I know.
Yep.
I know because
What
I'm
we
that
call
way.
aggressive here in LA.
What we call aggressive.
Yep.
I'm like, yo, did you study, man? Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, you know what?
Yeah, you
Because
don't
I got
have
like
it.
5 guys who did.
Right.
You know, like I'll just go
Right.
right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh no, I've seen cats get fired in the middle of the gig.
Oh, I love
just
it.
a bandstand. Go home.
I love it.
We got this without you. We're good.
Oh man, that's exciting. That's like,
It's a drama unfolding in front of the
like
audience.
imaginary popcorn, just watching it go down. You know.
That's it. Yep. Absolutely.
Man.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was your 10-year kind of schooling,
Schooling completely.
and then
Totally.
you came to
And
LA
then I came
from New
to
York.
LA. Yeah, moved, just drove, put my upright in the back of my truck,
See,
and just drove cross
that's
country.
called hustle and grit, man.
Yeah. It was definitely a leap of faith.
Yeah.
Definitely a leap of faith. And just put some clothes in my big bass in the car, and I didn't know anybody here, and just restarted my life basically. You know, as far as career and and housing, everything. I didn't have anything set up. There was no gig waiting for me. A friend of mine, fortunately, basically in the days that I was moving, connected me with a church here. So I was playing every Sunday.
Nice.
And I had that from the time I got here.
Okay.
So that held me down.
A little bit of seed money.
Yeah, and nice people
Yeah.
and good church, and it made me feel at home.
Oh,
Maybe
good.
gave me feeling
Good.
like, because I have a home church back in Brooklyn. So I was like, how is this transition going to work too? You know, I need something familiar. So That was a big part of it. So shout out to Dwayne, right? DW.
There
you
you
know
go.
who you are. Everybody knows who he is, actually.
There you go.
And Dwayne is like forever just a king. He's the man. He's the man. Amazing bass player.
Awesome.
Amazing musician. A lot of you guys know him from Jill Scott's gig for at least the last 10 years.
Okay.
He's been with Jill easily for the last decade.
Right.
Maybe longer. But on a lot of other projects, and just an amazing human being, son of Timothy Wright, gospel legend. So it's just all his brothers are amazing. Amazing
lineage,
people in
yeah.
lineage.
Yeah.
Definitely, it's in that family. So, but Dwayne helped me out big time. He introduced me to a bunch of people, on the West Coast, and connected me with that church.
That's so important, isn't it? To have that network connection where, and please, listeners, don't be confused when I say network. I don't mean going out to network and shake
it's
hands
not
and meet
that.
people you never met. It's already, it's
It's something that already exists.
Exists, right.
Without you trying too hard.
And it's organically in
it's what
place.
your life is already has built into it.
Thank you.
And I heard somebody, I think you're gonna like this. I heard somebody say the other day, because they really flipped it. We always say it's who you know. It's who you know.
Right.
We're talking about that.
Yeah, I know,
but they
baby.
flipped it and took it to another level and said it's not even who you know. It's who knows you.
Come on, dog.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Meaning I could
love
say,
it.
I know Nomad. I saw
yeah.
him on the street. We had a good laugh, one time in a supermarket. That's not access. That's just
Right.
Nomad being polite to me.
Great.
But
way
if
of putting it. That's not
Nomad,
access.
on the other hand, is sitting at his studio and he goes, oh, I need to lay down this bass line real quick. Who do I call? And if he calls me, then that's him knowing me. There's a
There you
big
go.
difference.
And it's happened once or twice when I have called you.
Oh, yeah,
I wish I could
absolutely.
call you every month.
Hey.
Actually, there's been a couple times I've called you. You've been
I was
unavailable
on the
because you're
road,
working.
yeah,
I like
yeah.
that. See?
And I'll
Nothing
make it
wrong.
up too.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. No, that's a good thing. You don't have to make up
Yeah.
anything.
I was-
But well said, man. I
Who
definitely.
knows you?
I agree.
If people know you to be trustworthy, or they can
Yeah.
reach out and and lean on you,
Right.
then that's when things happen.
That's it.
Because if you just claim somebody and they don't claim you back,
And you're kind of like flailing in the wind.
end
kinda?
of story.
Yeah. Right.
And that's cool.
All right. So in Russia, we're good. I have a lock on that.
Awesome.
Don't worry about it.
I got
We
you.
keep looking back to the computer, like make sure it's running. Was in Russia.
Yes.
You didn't have much access growing up to all kinds of music, or because I remember I interviewed Ruslan Sirota, which is
Yeah.
another amazing musician like yourself.
And ironically, me and Russ have a very similar story.
Okay.
Both came here at the age of 10.
Okay, I kind
Both
of.
from Soviet.
Oh wow, really? But you didn't know each other until you
Until
moved
like
to LA.
a few years ago. Yeah, we didn't even know
Wow.
each other in New York.
Look at that.
It was in LA that we met.
How cool.
Mm-hmm.
So the spark of inspiration for you as a child with music, where did that?
So, strangely enough, I actually did have more than you would expect access to music from overseas. For them, it's overseas.
Sure.
And I gotta credit my parents and my uncle with that. It's
always
almost
in the
always in the
family.
family.
Come on, yeah.
Because it's the thing you're in contact with the most. It's the people that are bringing you up, and they're taking care of you, and and their things rub off on you. So
That's right.
my parents are not professional musicians, but everyone in the family plays. And my dad was a gigging. He was like a weekend warrior. That's the best way to describe
There
my
you go.
pops.
There you
So
go.
he's right in between like engineering gig during the day, but heavy on the music for years, and even did a little bit of traveling over there.
Okay. And what was his primary?
Keyboard, piano,
Nice.
but he's with really like a natural talent. Like unschooled, definitely none of the theory and harmony, but he plays 4 or 5 instruments fluently just for no reason, just like that as a hobby.
Nice.
Violin, saxophone, guitar, piano for sure.
Yeah.
But everybody sings and plays in the family, so that's kind of just considered normal. But they always had records.
Right.
They always had records, and the records were, of course, of the local Russian music, Soviet music, like
Sure.
that was being fed to everyone.
Yeah.
But they had Ella Fitzgerald records, Count Basie records, That's really the earliest was big band jazz.
And that's great training grounds.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, for just young ears to just even be aware of, hey, this is what music's supposed to sound like. It was like Glenn Miller, Count Basie, Duke Ellington, and Ella. Those 4 names I remember being on all the time. My dad would just play. We had vinyl, and then in the 80s, it was like cassettes were pretty big. Actually, reel-to-reels. I had a little baby reel-to-reel.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't even know why, but that's
dope. No.
Yeah, that was the standard back then. That was the norm. So the jazz stuff was always on in the house, just as part of, daily life. And then a little more on the rock side, Beatles and Stones, nonstop.
There you go.
The whole catalog.
There you go.
Almost every song or every album in some order. And my uncle, I gotta credit my uncle. He's almost like an obsessed Beatles and Stones collector. Like he would collect the Russian pressings of the Beatles albums. So not Please Please Me that's released to the United States and UK, but the Russian one through the Russian record label that had to pass through communist laws to get approved. So he has original pressings that he brought from the old country that are like rare collector's items because that's all that was available over there.
Dude, and that's incredible.
Yeah, so all like Help and Rubber Soul and all, Sgt. Pepper's White Album, Let It Be, all that stuff, like Russian versions of it.
Wow.
And then he would get the American versions because, the collector's mind has to have everything. But all that to say,
that's beautiful.
Tons of Beatles and tons of Stones.
You're getting the best of both worlds.
It's like a little jazz and rock and roll.
Yeah, but you were getting the pop jazz, so to speak, of that era, where the harmonies are still pleasant and pleasing, the rhythms to the ear, but they're so intricate when you go below the layers, right?
The Beatles are sophisticated, man. I don't really know. There's no other way around it. You might not like them. You don't have to. They don't even have to be on your radar.
You're right.
But you have to, based on merit, give them credit.
Right.
Vocal arrangements, song form, writing.
The
writing is genius.
Lyrical melody writing that the melodies won't leave your head.
Yeah, everything. Catchiness, and then still spun in a pop presentation that makes little teenage girls go nuts.
But then still the psychedelic side. They did all the trippy experimental stuff too. So
you got to credit them whether you like them or not. And I actually do like them.
Yeah, me too.
And then the Stones is like the raw rock and roll edge, kind of sloppy. Just get in there and just thrash outside of British rock. So I fell in love with both. I don't have a preference.
But all the smoothness of big band, come on. And all those layers and harmonically dense, arrangements, come on. You're talking. So
that's kind of...
That's a beautiful foundation.
That's a little piece of American and UK music that was in our house. And we didn't even think that big of it. We just like... Dad loves it. I love it. This is what cool people like.
It is. Yeah.
That's how a kid's mind works.
That's right.
So that was the original foundation. And my dad did start teaching me to play guitar from a very early age because he could play some guitar. And so I thought that was the coolest instrument that he played.
Yeah.
So the very first guitar he built me, just out of plywood or something. He cut it like a little copy of a baby Les Paul.
That he built it for you. So wait a minute. You mean to tell me, I know we're like in a TV studio, and action. You mean to tell me that he built you a guitar out of like pressed wood?
Yeah.
That's...
So the very first one, I have evidence of this. My mom saved the pictures. My very first guitar is a picture of me. It's black and white. We didn't even have color photos at the time. Wow. And it's just me. I think I'm 3 or 4 years old, just kind of staring into the camera. But it's a branch, like what you get from a tree, just a branch with fishing line strung across it, just like some poor random kid from like
as you apply pressure. Yeah,
that's it. And I'm like totally in it. I'll have to show you the picture. But so that's my very first guitar. That's just makeshift. Like we just made it outside. My dad put it together for me. And then...
That's amazing,
But then the second guitar was a copy of a Les Paul, a little Les Paul shape, but it was a baby size one that he carved out of pressed wood. Like
he
plywood.
cut it himself.
He kind of like just, got the shape down, put some short strings across it, and and painted it red, man. I had a red Les Paul.
Wow.
Like I thought I was Jimmy Page or something.
That's crazy,
That's
dude.
probably like at the age 6 or 7.
That's beautiful.
And I kept that until we, left the country. I don't have it anymore. But by then, though, I was like kind of big enough to start playing his acoustic guitar.
Wow.
So I started noodling on that. But it's not like I was practicing heavy. It was just, as a kid, it's just one of the little hobbies.
Sure.
And they put me into classical piano lessons when I was 6 to get the left and right hand reading. And,
Wow, did you get some Rachmaninoff in there?
I mean, watered down, a little baby Rachmaninoff. But yeah, those teachers are hardcore. I remember them. Russian teachers don't really care how old you are. They're not really like padding stuff. Right. It's like there's New York, and then there's the Russian approach. You want to talk about extreme hardcore.
Really?
If they make you cry, or if a little kid is breaking down, that's nothing to them.
Yeah.
They're like, this is part of the process. We're teaching.
Right.
How else are you going to get better?
Right.
They're just
I love that.
very, very, and that's why, some of the people over there really succeed like crazy.
That's
Everything
right.
from the gymnasts to the classical pianists, classical musicians in general,
And they start training very young.
Very young, and they don't care if you like it or not. You know what I mean? It's almost like it's not a follow your passion thing. It's like, this is what's good for you.
This is what you're doing.
The adults have said this is what's good for you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You said mathematicians, engineers, I would imagine.
Engineers.
And the list goes on.
Kick ass for sure. But pianists, classical musicians, athletes, gymnasts, whatever, hockey players, they don't practice based on their feelings. That's the biggest thing.
I feel like
we shed when we feel
West,
good here. Yeah,
the West needs to adapt a little bit more of that principle.
It's a pretty cool work ethic. It's Spartan in a way.
We are way too emotionally based, and you just said Spartan. I love that. Man.
Yeah, you know what I mean by that.
Yeah,
like here's your little tiny space to exist in, and you're gonna work on your craft daily until you get to the next level.
Until you are a master of the craft.
Yeah, that's it. There's not really any other out. You know what I mean? That's
wow.
and they teach lessons like that. They teach in schools like that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got it like a little classical piano foundation, little bass clef, treble clef, vibes early on.
That's really important.
It's important.
I didn't have that early on.
Yeah.
And I started to go back and try to learn that later. But I think that to have that foundation,
it's cool early. I mean, you can learn it at any phase of your life. It's a science as far as clefs and reading. It's not. That's a science. You can break it all down and teach it. But yeah, when you get it early on, it's just familiar. And you start to classify instruments in your mind, which clef they belong to. You start to already expect who's going to read and which clef and
that's right.
what kind of parts they may be playing. But but it was all kind of still, I wasn't self-motivated about music yet. I just loved it.
Sure.
But I wasn't practicing diligently. It wasn't until I came to the States.
So your family was not pushing that method on you?
No, their whole thing was expose him to everything.
Okay. Yeah.
And then he's going to select his path. But when you go to the teachers don't want to hear that shit.
Right. They don't have tolerance.
They don't.
Yeah.
They're like,
zero
there's
tolerance.
only one thing I teach, and I teach it hardcore. There isn't this whole dabble thing with me. So the parents will let you. My parents let me dabble in everything to find my passion, but the teachers don't let you dabble. They're like, if you got these swimming lessons, you're about to do 100 dives in a row and swim the length of this pool until you're drowning.
I think as the upper echelon class of musicians, we all have some of that Russianism in us.
It's just natural.
The sacrifice that it takes. Mm-hmm. I talk about this all the time. If you're a doctor or a lawyer and you put in all these years of study, the compensation and the respect you get in a social setting is extremely profound and high.
Yeah.
Right? You make lots of money
yeah.
and you are looked up to. When you go to that level in music, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, not
it's
really.
bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's so bizarre.
Yeah.
So
and you put in at least the same amount.
Oh, at least the same amount of time. I would venture to say more.
Possibly more.
Because
some of us more for sure.
Typically, we start young. You can't start to be an attorney at 10. I mean, it's a rare case. I'm sure it happens, but it's rare.
Yeah.
You don't really get into that until you're 18, 19, 20 and say, okay, I'm going to college and I'm going to study law.
Right. Plus, I have friends who
You know?
practice 8-10 hours a day.
That's what I'm saying.
Not an exaggeration.
That's what I'm saying. Well, that's what we did. That's what I did when I was coming up. From the time I was 13 to 19.
Yep.
6 years. It was 8 to 10 hours a day.
Yeah, those aren't exaggerated numbers.
Those aren't exaggerated.
It's not like, oh, I'm making up numbers. No, like actually 8 to 10 hours a day is the instrument is in the person's hands.
That's right. And really, that's what it takes to become
masterful.
I like that. See? Man. This is so easy. All I have to do is just sit here and hit record and let you talk.
No, but you got a lot of great points, man.
All right, so I mean, because you're talking about, like I always say, principles never change. These are the tried and true principles of what it takes to be great. Methodology changes and evolves and
every day.
Right, but the principles remain the same.
Yeah.
So I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, man.
Philosophical
I think it's universal
approach,
all over the world.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the good stuff. Okay, so because honestly, I'm going to brand it as Dmitry Gorodetsky, bass player to the stars. Let's talk about your resume and credits, and people want to hear it, man. And there's nothing wrong with. Here's what I say: there's nothing wrong with some shameless self-promotion. Why not let everybody know that you're a pro and that you are fully equipped to do the work you do?
Okay.
So
yeah, I mean it's part of the ongoing thing.
That's right.
As a new thing happens, I guess you should be proud to talk about it.
Precisely.
Right?
Precisely.
In that way, it's not self-promotion as much as it is just like keeping you updated.
That's right. This is what I'm doing.
Just briefing you on what the latest is.
Not boastful or arrogant, but just. So talk about your resume.
I guess the easiest thing for me is to go backwards.
Love it.
Because I remember today, but not really yesterday, and definitely not.
And then as you start to unfold it, you're like, "Oh yeah, I remember that."
Yeah. If I start from the beginning, I mean that'll just tell kind of a chronological story, but we don't want all that. Okay, so most recently, as far as artists, the most recent I got to work this year is a milestone for me. I got to work on the Grammys for the first time.
Nice.
And I had always dreamed about it. It was the Grammys is, to a musician is like, it's some kind of level of success.
It's the world finals.
Yeah.
It's the cup.
Yeah,
it's the NFL.
exactly.
It's the bowl, whatever. Yeah.
Yep. So although I didn't perform live on stage, by working on the Grammys, I mean pre-records.
Nice.
So, a lot of performances are pre-records, mimes, and amalgamations of those two things, all kinds of combinations. So I was working this year. Shout outs to Asaf Rode who called me. He is currently Lil Nas X's MD.
Nice.
So he's working with Lil Nas, and they put together a big giant. He was nominated, and he put together a big giant medley of Old Town Road and another record of his. Like a 5-minute medley with the two songs and some hits, arrangements, and things. But then because the song had so many remixes as it came out, because it stayed number one, it broke records, on the charts.
Incredible.
Yeah, it was such a big song.
Such a groundbreaking experience. We needed.
Country and hip hop and trap, everything was put together. It was dope. So they wanted to feature different people on different verses, because the verses what was coming out in the remixes as different artists. So they just kind of threw the kitchen sink together. I mean, it was more diverse than the song had started. The song had started with country and rap, and then they added BTS into it. So they got K-pop, which is like massive right now. For anybody out there checking out K-pop or is familiar, BTS is like the biggest.
The ones, yeah.
They're actually changing the game, because for once, American kids that speak only English are singing along to Korean that they don't even understand what they're singing, which is what the world has been doing with American music
for all these decades.
For 100 years, yeah. The world has been singing.
It's been flipped.
Yeah, they've flipped it. They flipped it because for years we didn't know anything but Russian, but we were singing with American lyrics. We had no idea what the Beatles or Ella Fitzgerald was saying, and now that's happening with BTS. They were on the Jingle Ball tour this past year. They are on every billboard on the highway. They'll tour America right now, probably sooner than Asia, and they're massive. So they were on a verse. Lil Nas, Billy Ray Cyrus.
Yeah.
He was part of the record
Who wrote
originally.
the country version. Yeah.
Exactly. And then they brought out the OG Nas from the 90s. So Lil Nas, Big Nas together. And who else? Somebody else. Oh, the Yodeler kid was on it. I'm spacing on his name.
I know what you're talking about.
He had a verse.
I did see it. I just don't remember all of the.
So there was just going from room to room, and all these new features would pop up on a new verse.
Incredible.
So being a big record, I was just really proud to be a small part of it and provide the live bass tracking over the 808s that were already in there. So that's the most recent, I would say. Just before that, I got to work with Dionne Warwick and played on a record of hers. Her latest release is a Christmas record called Voices of Christmas. She was amazing. She's an OG.
Oh,
If for any of you guys,
go know.
Just Google.
She's Googleable.
She's Googleable for sure. The Burt Bacharach stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Walk On By.
I think it's Dionne, right?
Mm-hmm. And she's also music royalty because she is Whitney Houston's family.
That's right.
I believe she's
Whitney's
like her aunt.
Yes,
correct.
exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
In fact, we were in the studio, so she's very hands-on.
Oh,
she's in there every
cool
day.
Is that?
She's got a mic just like this set up at the control board right in the engineering room. And she is singing scratch vocals if you need them, references, starting and stopping you, giving you pointers. Nope, I don't want it like this. Give me this. This is my vision.
So she's producing.
She's producing. She's co-producing, and she's also telling you, "Hey, I don't want too many takes of this because the magic is in take 1 or 2.
It's so
you don't
true.
really with working with her. You don't really get to go past take 2. You better nail it by then. And she's gonna keep take 1.
And see?
She ain't even really gonna like take
it's
2.
It's the initial instinct of how you respond to something you don't know.
That's the word, is instinct. It's that your initial interpretation is actually the right one.
There you go.
And that's kind of a truth, I think, for us in general. Our gut feeling, first impression, call it what you want.
All the I words, intuition, impression,
that thing
instinct.
We learn to ignore it and not listen to it, but actually the very first, your gut feeling about something, a place, a situation, someone, is just like that first take is the realest one. It might be sloppy, it might be mistakes, you might play some clams, because you might still be learning the music, but the spirit is correct.
That's
part
of my MO with the TCM, the career musician. Trust your gut, man.
Trust your gut.
Don't beat it up.
Yep.
Don't keep going. I love that. All right, so the Grammys, Dionne, and by the way, I've been tracking all this on social media. So, I love it. I see it all. But I want our listeners to know.
Yep. Then apparently it was the year of Christmas records because I played on John Legend.
John Legend, that's right.
Which he was doing a cover of John Lennon.
There you go.
So that was kind of like a cool little situation. He covered Happy Christmas, which is like a war protest song, but with the Christmas spirit. It's really kind of actually a dope concept.
Right.
So that was with like a choir and all this big production.
Nice.
That came out on John Legend's Christmas album. And then currently, this is an ongoing thing I'm working on. Nat Geo is putting out a docu-series, a biography. I'm not sure if I'm using the right word, but some combination of those things on Aretha Franklin. This is definitely the year of Aretha Franklin. So Jennifer Hudson's got the movie coming out, and Cynthia Erivo has the documentary coming out. We're working on Cynthia's.
Amazing.
It's put out, like I said, by National Geographic, and it's 8 one-hour episodes, so like a series of Aretha Franklin's life from the very beginning right up to, Freeway of Love and her whole career, basically, her whole musical career. And there's some amazing actors, amazing story being told.
Right.
I mean, it's Aretha Franklin, so it's awesome to just be any part of working on
any
that.
part
and
of
then
that
she's
legacy.
Aretha's my hero.
Yeah.
I love her to pieces, and I love her music, and it's a dream come true to work on it. And we're tracking a lot. They're using some original recordings, as you would guess, for the big hit records. Maybe it's like Respect or Chain of Fools or something like that.
You have to.
But then there's scenes of young Aretha, say, singing in a church that no one had ever recorded. Right. So recreating those scenes, they don't have the music for it. So we're playing that stuff live, or an audition that she might have done at a record label, or rehearsals, or her working stuff out with her band in the studio, the Muscle Shoals band.
Oh, that's right.
So we're tracking the,
And another one who was a hands-on producer artist. She was
totally.
She was giving direction constantly in the studio.
She could play this piano.
Oh, she could play her arse off.
Yeah. Like a lot of the parts is actually her playing piano.
That's right.
We were in the studio, like looking at these piano parts, like, man, these aren't easy to execute.
Right.
That's because it's her.
Yeah.
She could really play. I think, I don't want to be wrong, I think Ella Fitzgerald played piano too. I think she took over Chick Webb's band.
Wow.
Back in the day.
Talking about history.
Running,
Chick Webb and Ella.
Yeah, running a big band from the piano and singing. I don't want to be wrong, but I'm pretty sure.
Conducting and producing as you go along.
Yeah, real musician. Both of them, like true musician, vocalist, singer, pianist, arranger, all that.
Incredible.
Anyways, so working on that. That'll come out Memorial Day.
Okay.
May 25th-ish.
Nice.
Around there.
Nice.
Raphael Sadiq is producing all the music.
Nice.
It's done at his studio.
Over here in NoHo. Mm-hmm. Love that place. Yeah, great place.
Yep. Amazing musicians. Just
I'm sure.
Lots of sessions weekly.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's like
fun.
A weekly. I got one tomorrow.
Yeah.
I had one, I think, earlier in the week. So that's current. Then if we go back a little bit, like I said, this is where I start to not remember. It gets foggy.
That's all right.
Still working with Charlie Puth.
Right. You've been with Charlie Puth for how long?
Now 3 years. It might be a little over 3 years.
Okay.
So a couple of big tours around the world, couple records worth.
Incredible.
Played on a couple of those studio sessions.
Okay, we got to dig in.
Okay.
So first of all, on tour with him around the world. Before we get there, because that leads next. That's a perfect segue into my next question elements. But let's talk about the sessions. So, I love the fact that an iconic modern day artist says, "You know what? Let's use some of my road band for the studio. Why not? Let's use my road band." That's amazing.
It's amazing, and it's really like it's
because it's a rarity.
So rare. It's hard to explain.
So tell us about that. It's amazing.
Yeah. So. Excuse me.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, we'll go. All good. Bro,
edit that
you're
out.
human. No.
I'm only human.
I'm not going to edit the freaking cough. How dare you cough on
I love it. That's real.
Do you need anything? Are you good?
No, I'm good.
Water?
I'm
whiskey?
sipping this water.
Okay.
Whiskey.
A little too early, maybe.
No, it's perfect. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
That's right.
But
and we know. We've been there.
For sure. I've been to that place.
All the wares.
Yep. So as far as Charlie choosing, I mean, he's really, you have to understand and get to know the guy to really understand where he's coming from, because he's a different type of producer. He's a different type of musician. He's got the jazz history and lineage.
Beautiful.
And the Berklee education system that he actually finished. He didn't even drop out.
Wow.
You know, a lot of people
most of us drop out, right?
Yeah. He actually finished. So there's a lot
out.
and it's the great ones usually do drop out. Yeah. You know what I mean? A lot of because they find work before they even finish the school. They find ways to make money and travel and tour and get in the.
But in his case, he's a great one who didn't drop out.
Yeah, because the thing, Charlie had his stuff really together while he was at Berklee. I heard stories of him already having management or an agent. Wow. He had merch. It's been confirmed that he had merch when he was still at Berklee as a student.
Now that's some career musician
move
characteristics right there.
Yep. He had his stuff totally together: reading, writing, improvising, jazz, harmony. His level of perfect pitch, this isn't some natural gift thing that you can't even really work on. Is like a lot of our musician friends, you know, you'll run into people that have perfect pitch, and that's amazing because I just have relative.
Me too.
You know, so cats will be able to know what any random note is in the middle of the night. You can play a C sharp and they'll know it. Charlie's is on another level. You can take a glasses and tap them on a table and it'll be like,
I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, that's like an out of tune D. Wow. Or you can be like, and he'll be like, "Oh yeah, it's like a C sharp. It's a little flat."
Wow.
You know what I mean? He will hear, like, I've heard him point out people in the audience, like a scream out in the audience. He'll go right to his piano and be like, "I told you it was an F sharp."
That's amazing.
You know, some chick will just go, "Ah," and he'll go to the piano and find that note. Well, he'll
already call it out,
and then test himself. Yeah,
You
so
gotta love that.
I mean, he knows a refrigerator is humming in E flat when he walks by it. You know, so his level of gift is crazy. It's another level. So all that, but he had a business mindset in Berkeley. From what I hear, I wasn't there with him, but a lot of my friends were. I constantly meet people that were like, "I was at school with Charlie Puth.
Really?
Like, we were classmates." Yeah, a lot of people. You know,
That's cool.
He was one of the guys just around the school as a student.
So he calls you guys into the studio.
Yeah, and the reason why is the string instruments is the one thing that he doesn't really play. He can program drums like nobody's business.
Yeah.
And of course all the keys, but specifically for string instruments, when he wants the authentic thing, most producers would reach for some kind of a sound library, some kind of a stock sound from somewhere, even if it's really good. Charlie is just like, well, why don't I just call the guitar player and the bass player that tour with me, because those guys get pretty authentic sounds out of real live string instruments, and I can just track them, and I can track them anywhere. You know what I mean? Especially with bass, we will plug into a DI. We'll use a regular Rode amp and just take the DI out of it, because I run like a little tube rig, and we'll just take the DI right out of my Rode amp and right into his interface into a DAW. And yeah, I mean, we tracked a record of his called "How Long" in a makeshift studio in the back of the bus on a day off in Kansas.
Love that.
We were like, it was like Topeka or Wichita, Kansas or something. And he was just like, "Yeah, just come track this song real quick." It wasn't a big deal. He didn't make like a whole big scene about it. It was just like, "Hey, you got a minute?"
Yeah. Nice.
You know what I mean? And then 6 months later, the record is like in the top 10 on iTunes or on the charts, on the pop chart, whatever.
It's amazing.
It did well.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
And the same thing, the guitar player played on even more records, Attention and all those, the familiar things.
Jan.
A lot of that, Jan Osvaren.
Yeah, I love Jan. Yeah.
Awesome. So a lot of that stuff, when it needs to be an authentic sound, Charlie is not afraid to reach for that.
That's amazing.
And then the rest of the time, he's crushing the game with programming, all the synths, all the drums, all the vocal productions. But yeah, it's very rare, because most artists will have their touring crew, and then they have the studio crew that won't go on the road.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's why I brought it up.
The guys are too busy. They're not available. They're whatever.
Honestly, that's an old business model. Because back in the day, and especially like in places like Nashville, you would have, whereas New York, it was all the same cats did everything. But in Nashville, you had the road cats and the session cats. But nowadays, as the business thins,
the lines start to blur.
Yes.
And a lot of it, I think, is due to relationships. Meaning, if someone has a relationship,
what you said earlier.
It's who knows you.
Who knows you?
And it's like, if I like this cat and the vibe is right, and we always have a good time, and we're cracking jokes and just having,
That's it.
the vibe is right. So why not have him come in and lay down a little bit of this?
That's right.
And then still be out on the road. We can go rock this arena or this stadium or whatever, whatever it takes. But it's like, I know what I'm getting when I call that guy.
That's right.
I
love it. I experienced a lot of that with Babyface as well. For the whole time I was with him, he would call me for the session stuff too. Yeah. And I think that really is
because you have the stamp of approval on you from the artist.
There you go.
All around.
There you go.
They know that with the hang, the skill you bring on your instrument, and just your overall vibe.
That's right. It's an affirmation, and it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. All right, so then touring the world with somebody like Charlie Puth, again, because you're talking about a modern day pop legend, right, or icon.
He's a
pop,
star.
A star,
He's a star,
a modern day pop star. So tell us about that. That had to be fun. 3 years?
It's definitely fun. A lot of new places. Let's start there. A lot of new countries, new continents. For me, a recent highlight was Brazil. I had not been to Brazil. I'd been dreaming of Brazil.
I haven't been there yet either.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like one of those things that just is, it's a little elusive for some reason.
Right.
Excuse me. And so it was Rock in Rio. It's kind of the best way to start South America. For those of you not familiar, it's one of the biggest festivals in the world, certainly in South America. I think the attendance is between 200,000 and 300,000.
Wow.
It's massive. And
That's
it's outdoors.
crazy.
Like nothing can even hold a crowd that big because it's like, that's 2-3 stadiums worth.
That's
and
crazy.
They got a couple massive stages, and the audience just turns 90 degrees watching one stage, and then when that one is being broken down and changed over for the next artist, the line check, they just turn 90 degrees and watch the other stage. And so continuous
How
music,
cool
I
is
think
that?
a couple weeks.
Yeah.
That one was fun just because of the sheer energy. It was gorgeous.
Yeah.
Rio de Janeiro was beautiful. They put us up on the beach. The hotel was right on the beach. And guess which beach, by the way? Because it was strangely familiar. Ipanema and Copacabana. Right between Copacabana and Ipanema. They had a hotel right on the beach, basically.
How awesome is that?
Yeah, so
bro?
like you could just walk down in your little swim shorts and just take a dip in the ocean, and be right back in the hotel. So that was gorgeous. The weather, the people, the spirit of the people, it's really beautiful. And then the festival was a blast. The festival was like a face melter because you would just, they put the same bands in the same hotels. Like it's like a package deal or whatever they do through the festival. So the day we played, or the week we played, like Chili Peppers were there. I think Iron Maiden. I mean, it was just like,
dude.
it wasn't like just like Pop World. It was everybody.
How cool is that?
Black Eyed Peas played directly after us. The artist, played just before us. So we were sandwiched between those two, those two stages. But yeah, like I said, I mean, everybody from contemporary pop, like BB Rexa, all the homies were down there playing. But yeah, to have the Chili Peppers and Maiden, I mean, it was just it's like whatever you like.
How about that diversity? That's
the diversity is crazy. And the Brazilian,
Her and Iron Maiden, and Puth, come on, all in one, just chilling.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, the backstage area situation
must
is
be
nuts.
Insane. Yeah,
it's just overrun, and you don't even know who you're talking to. Bump into. Yep.
Well, like we said, it's 5:00 somewhere.
Yep,
so
here it is, man. It's
apparently it's 1:00 for us, and by
cheers,
darn it, cheers.
Cheers to that. I love it. Thank you, man. Oh, this is delicious.
It's nice. It's not an endorsement, but I like this new company, Proper 12. I mean, I'm sure it's not new. It's new to me.
That is a beautiful
Proper
flavor.
12 Irish whiskey, triple distilled, is smooth blend with hints of vanilla, honey, and toasted wood. Now,
I'm speaking it into existence. I'm going to Ireland next.
Oh, good.
Ireland and Scotland's on the bucket list. I have not been. I don't know why.
I have friends from there.
Man.
My brothers went to the Jameson distillery. I'm so mad at them. They went without me. Those bastards.
Oh, man.
Now, you have to understand something. I've been a Jameson head since 1990. But
I believe you.
Bro, he's like, I believe. I could see it on you. Freaking love Jameson. But then I got to say, man, I got this Proper 12. And I was watching the heavyweight fight the other night with, my dude, I can't remember the name. Fury. And what?
Jesus.
Talking about giants. I mean, these men
are
not forces to be reckoned with.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Intense. Anyway,
my
point was I saw Proper 12 on the. It was all plaster all over the ring while they were fighting. So obviously Proper 12 is one of the sponsors. But
you've been to Ireland. I know.
No, I haven't been. It's crazy. I've been all over UK, but
let's go, man. We need to go
together.
Yes, sir.
Oh man, yeah. I've been to Russia twice. Love it there. So cool.
Yeah, it's you probably got treated like gold,
like royalty.
Yeah.
Stupidly so amazingly nice. Like
going with the artist that you're going at the level that you're at,
Yeah.
you know, in the productions that you're in,
Right.
you're kind of you're
You
gonna
get
get treated like a
treat-
king.
I
They're gonna
have-
roll out the full hospitality.
I have some good Western stories.
Oh,
Do you want to hear one?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Come
one.
on.
Wait.
Share it,
So
share
we
it.
get there. We're with Babyface and my good friends Brandon Coleman on
Yeah.
keyboards,
Incredible cat.
Kevin Wyatt on bass. Did you know Kevin? He moved to Amsterdam before you moved here.
Yeah, I had no
Amazing bass player, musician, and Richie Pena on drums from New York. I don't know if you met Richie either.
Richie, I don't either.
And myself. Well, we go to we finally get settled into the hotel, and they say, okay, we'll come and get you. Meet us in the lobby. We'll go down to dinner together, and we're gonna go to the little thingy and this and that, blah blah blah. So we're playing first of all a private event.
And the hotel is super nice.
Oh, the hotel is stupid.
Just
It's
checking.
like yeah, of course.
Let's start there.
Yeah, I mean, so we come downstairs, we meet, and we're going into a quote unquote speakeasy because that's what we're playing. We're playing for some wealthy
Private.
events, you know. Anyway, they bring us to the back. We get to this little desk, and there's two beautiful Russian women. First of all, you're just like, my name is, you know, you lose all sense of you.
Oh man.
Beauty is just
They
go
know how to
ahead.
dress.
Yes,
I'm gonna say
we'll
that.
say that. So then first you see that, and then you look to the left and you see these two giant Russian guards with
God.
their pieces right on their waist. You could see their firearm right there. They're not hiding it. In other words, like a lot of times here in the States, you'd see a guard, but you can't see his firearm. Or
Yeah, this
or
thing
maybe-
is
no.
this thing is a deterrent right in your face.
Exactly,
Not
like-
only is the dude massive,
Yes.
but the pistol is out.
Exactly. There's two of those guys, and they're standing by an elevator. So we go into this elevator, and you know, we're a group, big old elevator, and we all go in, and we're like, okay, this is really neat and interesting. Yeah, I've been watching it. Pro Tools out of the corner of our eyes, damn it.
Rocking.
So then we go down, and you step out of the elevator, and this curtain opens, and you go into this little holding room.
Yeah.
Nice little holding room, some nice little chairs, and a pool table, and you're like, okay, this is cool. And they're like, please wait, you know, and they go and they do their thing, and then they come back to get us. They make sure we walk through. You ready? We walk through a little casino. Okay, again with the Russian model
Escort.
gorgeous women holding, you know, their drink platters and stuff, taking drink orders and walking around and catering to all the people who are gambling. Dare I say that? You go through that area, and there's like a little arch right here, like in the studio, and another curtain. You open the curtain, and now you're in the speakeasy, quote unquote.
Right.
It's the club,
The real back room.
the real back room, the club. Okay, not very big, and we already knew that because management was like, "Hey, this gig is a small gig."
Very
So the
intimate,
production
yeah.
manager was like, "We're going to fit a lot of things onto a small stage. We're going to kind of break it down a little bit." And it's all good. It's all good. We get in there. Now, we weren't working. This is our first night. So our liaison, his name was Robert, he says, welcome, sit down. And they had this giant table, right, spread. And is it sit down, enjoy yourselves. We want you to have a good time, right? So that's the first. So we sit
I
down.
hope you know
everybody's-
what they mean by that.
Okay, so everybody's
There's
laughing.
a lot implied right
Everybody's laughing. Well, hold on, let me get to the punchline. So, so the first thing is he's like, you tell the waitress, you know, the server, whatever he called them, and the more beautiful ladies come out, and they're not waitresses, they're models who just happen to be asking you what you would like to eat.
Yeah.
And he says there's no menus, so you just tell them what you want to eat. And we say we don't. And of course, our first, well, what do you mean? What does that mean? I don't even understand how that works. He goes, you tell them the type of meat you prefer, if you like potatoes and vegetables, if you want soup, if you want this, if you want that.
And the chef will make it.
So you just say, "Oh, I like chicken and sure potatoes and vegetables." Or if you have an extensive palate, you just say it. Anyway, they bring out. But before the food comes out,
Shots.
we're talking giant clear bottles
Yeah.
of frozen vodka that they just took out of the freezer. You can see the ice on them, and they just start pouring the shots. Now, I can hold. You know, I'm a big dude. You're a big dude. We can hold our. You know, so I like to have a couple shots from shoot. But Robert is like, he just doesn't stop pouring, you know, and the whole so all the service.
You
come
don't
around.
stop pouring. That's the culture.
That's
you guys are now you're tapping into the culture.
Yes. So now, Richie, Brandon, Kevin, and myself. It was at the time we were only a 4-piece band. We're getting
hammered.
lit, right?
Hammered.
Well, as this is going on, the food hasn't come yet. Now he says he gets very serious. He sits down and he leans over the table. It's a big ass table. You know, it's almost like if you imagine you're in a conference
Robert
room.
was your.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was your host. Or
He was our liaison host. He lives in New York, but he's Russian. and he was a promoter who brought a lot of bands over.
Gotcha.
He leans over and he says, "Now, I want to make this very clear. I want you to have a good time. I want you to look at our beautiful Russian women, but you cannot touch them." And then and he didn't laugh. He's just like, and we were all, huh?
He's like, what?
Bro, I wasn't even going to do anything. Why are you pointing this out?
Right, we weren't going that way. Like, what makes you think?
It was hilarious.
Wow.
So the whole night, we're all like, kind of drunk, but kind of like scared.
Right, because you saw the armed guard earlier. You don't know what the repercussions are.
I mean, dude, this must have been 8, 9 o'clock. We probably didn't go to sleep until 4 or 5 in the morning, up to our rooms. That's normal. We hung out all night and just had a great time. And it's just beautiful. I mean, but that's... Yeah.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
How smooth was that vodka?
Oh, it was stupid. Okay.
Because I want to
We couldn't stop.
that.
That's the thing. So
Like water. It pours like water and it goes down like water.
So Babyface himself is not a big drinker. So he doesn't really drink a lot. But he was taking a couple shots of vodka. And he even mentioned, he's like, wow, that's smooth. I'm surprised that it's so smooth.
It doesn't
So
burn.
maybe he had 1 or 2 shots, but we're pounding him and we're like, oh, yeah, give me some more water. I mean, vodka. However you say it.
It's so smooth, and they brought out, I'm sure, the best for you guys.
Oh, man.
And then some of the vodka, I mean, if it's really good, you're not even getting the same kind of hangover next day.
No.
Follow The Career Musician on Instagram and Facebook. Making music is easy. Making money in music is not. Join Nomad as he talks about the ups, downs, and turnarounds of the music biz.
Hi, I'm Dmitry Gorodetsky, bassist for Charlie Puth, and I am here with my dude Nomad on the Career Musician Podcast.
You're listening to the Career Musician Podcast by Nomad, empowering musicians with strategies for a sustainable career. Binge previous seasons of the Career Musician Podcast and subscribe for all new episodes.
Subscribe to The Career Musician on Apple Podcasts.
All right, so sorry, there's ghosts in the machines. Yes, so the vodka is amazing. I mean, we just had a blast.
The hospitality is
hospitality
crazy.
is out of this world.
And they're going to keep pouring until you fall over, because that's how they show that they're a good host. That's our culture.
Right.
You bring out the best for your guests, and you feed them to death, and you give them more drink than they can have. And only when they say no more, stop, is when you feel like you've done your job. Until then, you keep it going.
Well, then they're gonna say, okay, well, how about some coffee and dessert?
Oh,
and how about so then they're bringing the next thing out. Yeah,
I mean,
but then they'll give you the liqueurs, the dessertifs, and
and then when you think it's all over, and finally they've gotten all that out, they'll be like, "Well, just put some fruit on the table in case you get hungry again." It's just fruit, like just some fresh fruit. Like, I just had 17 courses and a bottle of vodka by myself.
I can't even look at a grape.
Right. You want tangerines sitting in front of me now? That's the culture. You tapped into that's some Russian culture, man. That part of the culture is amazing.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, did you tour over there with Charlie?
I haven't toured over there with Charlie.
How cool would that be?
It would be insane. I would be the official translator for sure.
Oh, you would be the official Homeland star. Yeah. It would be like, that's our boy, Dmitry.
That and just also like just getting the guys the best of the best, because I would know how to get around. Yeah, just get around the whole place. But we haven't gone there yet. I do have a really amazing producer friend in Moscow who produces for everybody over there, for the big Russian pop stars. And he has a bunch of, Grammy equivalents. And he's like, bring over Charlie. Charlie should come out here. It would be so awesome to have him. So he's got the venues already picked out in his mind.
Nice.
Yeah, like he's totally all about it. So maybe it'll happen sometime.
There you go.
But I have toured over there with other
artists.
Yeah,
beautiful.
So like I've gone to Moscow and St. Petersburg. As far as even Kazakhstan, Almaty, which is the capital of Kazakhstan, which was under Soviet Union but not Russia proper.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I've
Is
been
that
over
like
there.
Riga, Latvia? Because I've been there as well. Is
That was also part of the Soviet Union, but now
but
it's
it
a
broke
separate.
off.
Yeah,
Right. Okay.
Lithuania,
right,
Latvia,
Latvia,
Estonia, they all split off. So a lot of it's 16 independent countries. It's like
Incredible.
like Canada having 15 provinces
Yeah.
or something like that, and then splitting them all up.
I love it because just like when you go to Europe, everything is, these towns were built centuries ago and it's still intact. So you're in the town center and it's a big giant open square or circular.
And things are preserved.
And it's preserved and everything is cobblestone. And it's just, the architecture is so rich and ornate.
And an old center city clock that goes off at noontime. Like in Prague, in Czech Republic, it's like in the old town center.
Yes,
it's just like
precisely.
like a little skull that pops out
That's
and tells
right.
you it's noontime.
Yeah,
for centuries.
And all the little goblets and stuff on the corners of the buildings.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's so
That's
neat.
great. Gargoyles. And
Gargoyles, thank you.
Yeah,
I love that. Wow. All right, so here's what I want to get to as a career musician, because one of the things that kind of irks me, and I feel the older I get, the more irkings I have.
We love it. Embrace it, man.
One of the irkings
It's part of life.
no, but seriously, musicians have this tendency. First of all, we have some bad stereotypes, right?
A ton of them.
So when you go on tour, let's talk about proper code of ethics and conduct for a career musician. Because sure, you could go on tour and ham and cheese it up and go all out and get fired or never be invited back.
Yeah.
Or you could say, you know what, let me think about this. This is still a business and I am a business person and I want to conduct myself accordingly. So talk about that, man, as far as your personal experiences.
Yeah, there's a lot there. I'm trying to see what end to start at.
Because let's face it, it's not sex, drugs, and rock and roll as the old stereotype goes.
Because we're not the Rolling Stones, and we're proud of what we do. It's not a subpar thing. It's just almost a different business.
Right.
The big distinction I think to make is that you're not the artist.
Amen. You could say that 10 million times over.
Start there.
You are not the artist.
You are not the artist, because people will meet you and they'll be like, "You're a rock star." I'm like, "No, I work for one." Big difference. You know what I mean? You're a pop star. No, I'm not. I work for one.
Work for one.
The Rolling Stones are a band. And even within that band, they have their hired guns.
Right.
We're not going to name names.
That's right.
But we love them all.
Right.
Some of them are homies.
But Keith and Mick and the guys who are the core members.
Ronnie Wood is a member, and he joined later. But
Right. And
Keith and Charlie Watts,
and Charlie,
for sure.
Those guys are the rock stars, quote unquote. Yeah,
exactly. And they've been in the band. And so, or you look at a band like Maroon 5. They're a band.
That's right.
Highly successful
Adam
band.
Levine and all the other guys.
But then somebody like P.J. Morton is a unique addition to the band. Now, I'm not going to speak on the status because that's none of my business,
of
and
course.
I'm not privy to the information. But the difference there is that, or Coldplay, perfect example. 4 guys thrashing the stage, all artists. No sidemen there.
Chili Peppers, same way.
Chili Peppers,
or similar,
a band,
I think. Yeah.
Artists. You're looking at all artists. So people think that's what we are.
Right.
Now I have my band. I have our little artistry.
Which I want to talk about.
Yeah, we can get to that. But when you're out there, being on tour, working with people, you have to understand that you're the support team. Mm-hmm. So you're supporting the artist. You're not them. So that means that you're on a job. You're not going to get the same treatment as the artist, and don't expect it. You're going to get treated well.
You might experience that hospitality that you've been talking about.
You might get a little peek into that life. Right. But that's the bonus. That's a cherry on top, because we're there to do the work.
That's right.
We're there to make the artist look good, sound good. We're there to make them comfortable, and feel at ease and have the best performances of their life
every night, so they don't have to have anxiety about the gig every night.
Yep, no stress. It should be as easy as possible.
That's right.
So when you realize that, then you go, oh, I have a clear job with these certain things that I have to bring to the table, and those things, besides just playing and executing well, of course, every night you have to be it's sort of like the circles I've been working with, it's almost like you're tracking nightly. In fact, we do record every show.
That's right.
At the board, and it's a good mix too. We got an amazing front of house engineer.
And so that's a new thing.
It's a new thing.
Business model.
It hasn't always been like that.
Yeah, for the past maybe 10 years or so. Especially the past few years, it's becoming more and more.
But this is where we are now.
Right.
First of all, we're in the age where everyone's got their phone out anyways.
Everything's being recorded.
Everything's recorded, IG, and everything else. But besides that, every line coming off of the stage that's coming through Monitor World is being pumped to front of house and is being tracked at a lot of these shows for reference for a sub, to just having the recordings for the band to improve, for the artist, for a commercial they may have to use the audio, you know what I mean? So you're being tracked every night, and I'm down to literally, if I make a single mistake, I tell myself, I didn't really have a clean show. That's how I view it, because I want to be out there 100% nailing these parts, executing all the time consistently.
It's no difference than being on the court or on the field every night.
Yeah,
for star athletes.
Absolutely, same way. And it's like you said, it's closer to the worlds of recording and playing live are merging a little bit there, because there's no do-overs. It's all first takes. Let's say that. It's all first takes. You only get one swing at each moment in a night before you move on to the next city, and you just have to execute. And it lives forever because it's recorded. So you can hear your mistake after if you'd like.
Now let's talk about conduct off stage.
Right. So that's just the performance side. Off stage, I mean, it's just there's a professionalism that's expected no matter how much fun you're having.
That's right.
It's great to have fun. In fact, people love being around fun people. Folks that can party, drink, hang, crack jokes, and just like have a fun vibe to be around, just lighthearted. You know, we're out there together for hours, days, weeks, months. Yeah,
sometimes
you want to be around people that are at least chill.
That's right.
At least give me at least even keel.
Right.
The quiet, cool guy that doesn't say much. That's
fine. I'm
already
good with that.
That's already good.
That's right.
Anything you put on top of that is bonus, and that only makes it more fun.
That's right.
With none of the downsides, please.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Have you ever been late for a lobby call?
Man,
You don't strike me as the type of person that would be late.
Yeah, I freak out if that was happening.
Exactly. Have you ever missed a flight?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
No way.
Right? I would freak the fuck out, literally.
Yeah. No.
I would lose my shit.
Yeah, so that's the...
If it was my doing.
Totally.
If it's other circumstances that you can't control.
As a whole band, we've been delayed.
Yeah, sure, that's totally different.
But that's
totally
like,
different.
You're waiting with the squad. You were sitting there with the artist going like, all right, I guess we won't get there till tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to hit another Starbucks and eat and hit the bar and chill. Yeah, and wait.
But as far as, just think of it like, I don't want to say it like this, but it's like, it's the same criteria as working at the office.
That's right.
People are going to judge you on...
No, please say it again, bro.
It's like criteria of professional office.
Hierarchy,
or anything.
that's right.
It's just like your boss hired you to be on time, professional, dress right, be polite, be cool, don't start shit.
Right.
Handle altercations properly. Like if someone acts crazy, because there's crazy people out there and they're pushing your buttons, how you respond is still on you. How you react if someone is violating, how you return the fire, you can be judged on that.
Whether it's a front desk clerk or a gate agent at the airport or an enraged fan or somebody on the team in the production crew or whomever.
Someone could attack you physically.
There you go.
How you retaliate, how you defend yourself while you're on the clock, especially.
People are watching.
People are watching, even when you're off the clock.
That's
say,
right.
Say we're
That's
in
what I'm
Shanghai
saying.
and we're going out at night.
That's what I'm saying.
And some weird stuff happens, and now of course we're gonna stand up for each other.
Of course,
you got to defend your home.
Your crew, absolutely.
Because that's all we got, especially in these foreign countries.
That's right.
But if they say, man, Dmitry didn't just stand up for the guys; he went all out and kind of like overboard and too far, and just like he went above and beyond what that he shouldn't have. Then it's like, wait, what kind of a dude is he? Is he like a Mr. Hi-Hat? Like, is he? You know what I mean? Is he gonna like, because that's, you become the responsibility.
That's right.
It's you don't want to be a liability. How's that?
Best
for ability word.
Best way to put it.
Yeah, you don't want to be a liability to the camp, and just take that for whatever it means to you. You know,
I love
from just having your funds together, your business together, to paperwork. You don't want to be.
Please, let's talk about it. Yes, thank you.
Everyone's got to have their paperwork in, whether you're doing a TV show or a record or a production. Or just an NDA for a live taping. Say that you got to sign off.
Clank it. Cheers to that.
Here's to that.
Get your paperwork in order, folks.
Because the people on the other end might not be submitting individually.
Right.
They say we're waiting for the whole squad,
collective. That's right.
Before we can submit these papers, and only then does the process start rolling, and then maybe it takes weeks to get paid.
That's
or
right.
to get credited, whatever you're trying to do.
Granted, if you say, you know what, I'm not at a copy machine, I don't have this, okay, go figure it out. Go handle it.
Right. Or just at least let the people know that you have an exemption in this case.
Yeah.
There's something, I'm a citizen of this other country, so therefore I'm here as a legal.
There you go.
Cats are working here from the UK.
That's right.
And there's no problem.
You got to
with
have
that.
your work visas and your green cards and everything. Right.
I-9s are different
I-9s
to fill
are
out.
different.
Passports,
That's right.
citizenships are, you got to prove citizenship in a different way, permits to work. So it's cool to quote unquote fall behind or go a different route, but you have to communicate. Because if you don't, cats are like, I handed my paperwork in weeks ago. We still haven't got paid. What's happening? And it's because the saxophone player still hasn't submitted his.
Okay, so hold on. So this is so paramount to me. First of all, communication is key. Secondly, you can't have communication without follow-up. So follow-up has to go behind communication. It's part of the communication chain.
Yeah.
Send your shit in, and then a week later say, hey, I'm just checking in, making sure you received my information. Thank you so much. Have a great day. And be super polite about it, because the people on the other end are trying to get you paid.
Right.
So
they're
don't
not
give
really
me no
against you.
Exactly.
You're kind of all in the same team.
They're your advocates.
And I think, can I make this a segue right here?
Make
this is a transition. When you start to see the whole camp, not just the band, not just the rhythm section or just the people on stage, but the whole camp as on one team,
right?
You entirely change your approach. Because I'll give you this as an example. I will go after our show, and Cats would back me up on this because this is a fact. After we have a great show, I will go to the front of house engineer. We see each other in the green room or the bus later. Or we're all getting dinner, whatever. And I'm like, "How was your show?"
That's right.
I'm not talking about.
I'm not asking about me.
This is not an ego stroke.
Right.
Did I sound good in the house? That's not what I'm asking. How
did you have a good show?
You and that board. And that PA,
you feel comfy,
and all those frequencies in that wobbly, bouncy room. How was your show? And if anything, how can we make it better? How did we sound?
Do you need me to turn down? Do you need me to tweak my EQ?
You got too much low end coming at you because you're getting mud.
Right.
Is the signal too hot? Are we clipping? Does my reverb pedal here mess you up over there later on down the chain?
That's right. Should
I leave that gain stage to you? Would you rather be the one to put the compression on it, or should I send it to you from? You know what I mean? And so, this cat Mike Schaefer, who's an amazing front of house engineer, works with us and with her and a bunch of other artists.
Sure.
I'm always like, Mike, how was your show?
Yeah.
And I think of him as the other member of the band.
That's right. Well,
he's the sixth member of the band.
Yeah.
Because he gets the final say about what the people are going to hear.
That's right.
He could make me sound like mute. He could make the vocals sound like feedback.
Well, he does own the controls.
You know what I mean?
Aspect.
He gets the final say of what the people get to experience.
That's true.
What they paid money for. Through their ticket is what he's giving them that final stage out of the PA into their ear. So, and then everybody else too.
I was saying, let's talk about the monitor engineer and the techs and
playback guy.
Come on, playback.
Hey man, is the playback rig good?
How is it? Yeah.
How is the vibe with the cat? When we have to restart, are the vibes cool with like, hey, can we take it back to that chorus again, or do we need to how do we streamline this so it's easier for you? So every time we say go, you're not having to spaz.
Bam.
You know what I mean? Is A and B rig ready? Are you,
Right.
or you just, do you need a little more time to set up? Like, what is
What
it,
is
bro?
it?
Like, monitor guy is your biggest friend. Because that cat, as opposed to giving it to the audience, is in your ears. And so your mix solely depends on him. He is the difference between me hearing Charlie and not hearing Charlie in my ears. Hearing
Absolutely.
the talk back from the MD or not hearing.
That's right.
Hearing myself.
Getting enough hi-hat, kick, and snare so you
all,
can pulse it
all
out.
the balance.
Yeah.
So you want to buy that guy a drink. One of my biggest pieces of advice is just go buy the front of house engineer and the monitor guy a drink. And if they don't drink, get them a sandwich.
Something. Buy the whole crew something. I used to do that all the
Coffee.
time. I would take the crew out to dinner oftentimes. Just be like, you know what, guys?
Anything.
This one's on me.
It's just the gesture.
It's a
you don't Have
gesture,
to, it's
that's
not, I'm
right.
not saying spend a bunch of money like.
Don't you have to go crazy if you don't have it? Yeah.
But the gesture of it, or just something as simple as this. What? Hey, Nomad, I'm just going to the corner store real quick. Anything I can get you while I'm out?
Man.
Because cats can see, wow, he cares.
Yeah,
He just included me on whatever little thing he's got going on.
Man, I
it's not
forgot to get a
selfish.
water for my room. Would you mind grabbing a bottle? I'll pay you back. And what's going to happen? You're going to go, oh, don't worry. You don't have to pay.
It's on me. I got it. But yeah, just
See?
make friends
like
with
that. Make friends with everybody, man.
And then there's the crew. Hang with the carpenters that are building the stage every night.
Oh my god.
The tour manager. If your vibe is great with the tour manager,
your life
doors
is
are open.
Open, baby. Yes.
You're staying in better hotels. You are eating better food.
You're
your
gonna
voucher,
get a good
your
room. You get the coupons. You get
yeah.
the
It's just like they are organizing your day-to-day moves.
And
Do
be
not
cool with them. Communicate.
That's it.
When they hit you up via text or email, hit them back.
Yeah.
Right
Don't
away.
just let
Don't make them wait.
That's it. Yeah. It's like, or emails, hey, are you available for such and such dates? Like,
come on.
These people are mapping out flights,
Huge
hotels.
logistics.
They're creating the order in your life.
That's right.
For you to be able to get from point A to point B. So
That's right.
it's really a good idea. And then everybody else, from VIP merch to hospitality, like anybody. Of course, management. Of course,
Have a
the
good
day-to-day
rapport,
that works, assistants. I mean, I was hanging with the cooks and the chefs.
Yes, that's it.
Catering is the homies.
And then you were eating so good. Man.
We bake these extra cookies.
I made this little extra.
Yeah, these some gourmet cookies. There's a few extras. You want some? You know what I mean? It's just like, so the big picture is this. Sum it up. You're a team. You're out there. And you're like a little army, and you're navigating through countries and continents. If you don't have camaraderie and morale and respect for each other, it's going to be harder for everyone.
Yeah.
It's going to be harder, and it's going to be harder to call you back.
Come on, repeat business is how we live, my friend.
That's it.
And the word that goes out on the street. Oh, D is good. You could trust D.
It's just your reputation.
Reputation.
Cats know what you're about and what you're bringing to the table, musically and otherwise.
All right, so I totally agree. So look, you segued perfect because my next thing was business acumen, and you just covered all of it. Let me ask you this one last thing though about the business side of things. Negotiating and when to say no, thank you. How do you feel about that?
Cheers to you for asking this question. This question is so heavy and loaded and important. And man, have some friends. Having friends with this is
confidants.
Yeah, is a big thing because there is no across the board answer.
There isn't.
I'll start here. I've worked with MDs that say, of course you should always ask about business right up front. Hey, D, we're in the business. This money is involved. You should never be ashamed to ask, hey, what's the gig pay? Hey, what's our rate? Hey, what are we making per week? Politely, don't say run me my money. Don't say where's my cash now. But in a get your little business verbiage together. and learn how to say, what is the rate? That's one very professional way, because you're not trying to slam people with the word money right in the forehead, but you say, what rate are we working for?
Pay scale, compensation.
Compensation's a great one. So using quote unquote little office terms, that helps to soften the blow.
That's right.
But the bigger picture is what I started saying. I've had an MD that says, of course, there's never a problem with you bringing up, of course, one-on-one, what is the compensation? I've also heard stories of an MD, watch this, that was offended by you even bringing up that question because the echelon is so high. Now, you wouldn't know that you're working at an echelon.
You'll know
level.
when you're at that level.
You'll know it.
And you'll know to keep your mouth shut.
Because there isn't a level above it. We're talking about it's not that you've arrived, but you are working with the greatest in the world.
Period.
Not your opinion of the greatest, factually the greatest.
Period.
They're the guys on the most records, the most TV shows, the most Grammys.
That's right.
The most seasoned number of decades under their belt. Now we've narrowed it down. You kind of know who we're talking about. So
Amen.
There's only a few of those MDs and of those squads out there. And so in those situations, it's almost like, wait, you think I'd pay anything less than the premium?
Then maybe you're the wrong guy. Maybe you're the wrong call.
You could mess yourself up.
Yes.
You could mess yourself up
Amen.
simply by asking
the wrong
question. I'm going to tell you this without giving away too much, because there's parts of this I just, unnamed. I'll leave it that way. But
of course, no divulgence.
I got a call recently.
Yeah.
Not saying from who, but the person that recommended me, I immediately called them. I said, "Let me call you right back."
Sure.
Or it was an email, so I didn't even have to put anybody on pause.
Yeah.
But I called the person that recommended me, and I was like, "When is a good time to bring out funds?"
Yeah. What do you think? Yeah.
He was like, "Don't.
They'll take care of you.
You're good. I promise you, the rate is right. So know not to bring it up, because you could mess up the vibe just on that.
Love it.
Don't address everything else, the music, the dress code, whatever else you want to do. Don't worry, because these people are the right people.
That's right.
So know you're taken care of, and don't mess up the great relationship off the bat by bringing up that. Because some people, like I said, can be offended just by the suggestion that you might be making, that they would pay anything less than the best musicians a premium.
That's right.
Right. So the spectrum, you have to feel it out. There is no one answer. But here's my approach to it. It's hard to see your own situation through your own eyes. Meaning, I'm better. I have a bunch of friends who I don't want to use the word advise. That's such a corny and official.
It's the confidant.
But I will sit and
consult
talk with my friends.
Yeah.
Younger friends, like musicians, that are coming up in the game, and they want to know what to charge. I've been on the phone for hours with homies just trying to.
It's an unofficial consulting that goes on,
and it's easy for me because it's not my situation.
That's
the catch.
You can zoom out.
I
fully zoomed out
and
already.
I can see their situation. I'm like, you don't deserve this low of a pay, so you got to be at least in this ballpark, bro. Like,
but it doesn't merit this.
Yeah. You don't need to overreach because you're gonna shop yourself out of a gig.
That's
but
right.
But when you're in it for yourself.
It's harder.
It's hard because your personal perspective and emotions are involved. And so there's a lot more like, am I about to ask for too much or not enough? So your biggest ally is an outside perspective. You know what I mean?
So good.
So when you have that,
I love it.
Then you can listen to what I have a couple friends that I confide with heavy.
That's
like,
right.
hey, I just got this call and this doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
When do you think would be a good time? Should I even bring it up? Or like, oh yeah, I absolutely have to bring this up. I'm thinking of asking no less than this.
Right.
Because I know my worth,
Right.
So knowing your worth is a part of it, but don't be the person that names your worth and the camp planned on paying you double.
I was just gonna say. I was just gonna say
be a drag.
Well, let's talk about it. You know the old proverb about Bob Dylan, right? So what do you want him? So he asked all the guys in the band. He just hired a new band. Whatever. What do you want to make? And the drummer says, "I want to make $20,000 a week." And he says, "Okay, great, you got it." And the bass player says, "I want to make $15,000 a week." Okay, great, you got it. And the guitar player says, "Okay, I want to make $5,000 a week." And he says, "Okay, you got it." What?
Hilarious.
Can you imagine?
and then to finish the proverb, Bob probably said, "I thought they were going to ask 50 grand each, so I made out like a bandit." Great, what a great story. They just kept giving me discounts. Yeah, musicians are like that, man.
So that being said, now whether that's true or not, I don't know. But here's the point. The illustration is: don't undercut yourself. Okay, don't overshoot yourself so that you get you shoot yourself out of the gig. Be reasonable and seek advice from those who have come before you.
Only the people you trust.
That's
only
right.
the people that have your best interest in mind.
That's right.
But let them get. It's like getting a second opinion from a doctor.
Here's the last thing I want to say, and I totally agree with that. If your buddy said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to do it for this rate," don't go undercut. Oh, so and so said they'll do it for. I'll do it for less.
Oh God,
damn it!
I didn't. That's not even.
That's it. I know it should go. It doesn't even. We don't have to say it, but you know what? We have to say it because for some reason I'm seeing this surface in the industry where people are undercutting others, and you know what? That's some bullshit. Okay, there's no ethics in that.
There's a lot of bad karma attached to that.
There's a rotten moral code, so please don't do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Great
Period.
point. Great point.
Yeah.
Great point.
Now, have you had to say no thank you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Love it.
Absolutely. Yeah, you gotta after you do it for a couple of years, you know that you can't go backwards. Mm-hmm. So by backwards I mean, in the sense of what your minimum, what you know, wait, I can stay home and make that kind of bread or more like that's a determining factor in a lot of situations.
Right.
So yeah, I've had to say no thank you a bunch of times, and that's fine. I think you have to learn how to say no and to live with that decision.
Oh yeah.
I said that and I meant it and I stand behind it. And knowing that you made the right decision,
That's right.
That's definitely a thing. But I recently actually got called for a tour and had to do some negotiating and back and forth. And there's there's always a lot of details involved. But I learned a lot even from that negotiating process where I made a few points in my mind, just as advice for myself. But if you don't mind me sharing,
please
speak slowly, because the thing is, the person on the other end of the line or in the room, end of the table, is an expert negotiator. So
well said, my friend.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
This is not their first rodeo.
Oh,
you're just one of the bass guitarists they've faced today.
Have seen.
They're probably well compensated and professional, been doing this possibly for decades.
That's right.
And so they know by body language, demeanor, presence, vibe, age, experience, and all that, what you're probably going to go for and what you're not. And so they will ask certain questions that are probing or little test type cues to see how you respond. Or they will throw out a number that's wildly low or wildly high just to see, because they can
Your
always
reaction.
change their word.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the thing is they have a certain advantage where they can say, oh yeah, I misspoke. That's not in the budget.
I'm so sorry, we can't get approved.
Yeah. No, I was wrong. They'll take the blame.
That's right.
That's what management, it's part of the job.
That's their job.
They'll take the hit and say, I misspoke. It's actually half that rate.
They insulate.
And then watch then watch your reaction. Will you spaz out? Will you freak out? Will you get angry? Will you be able to walk away? Oh, this kid just went for it. We just cut his rate in half and he stayed. Cool.
Or how about if you say, you know what? I'm so sorry. I'm going to need a minute to think about that. I'll get back to you.
Yeah, it's always always cool.
Or, you know what? I'm so sorry. I really appreciate the call. Unfortunately, I can't do it for that rate.
Would love to next time.
And if you say that, so I always say you're not really negotiating until you're willing to walk away.
There's a great point.
When you walk away, unapologetically and just say,
Yeah.
I'm so
No,
sorry, I
thank you.
can't do it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bam.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then live with it and be fine with it. And know that the universe and know that all of your
Sure.
preparation and the faith that you've
Still
been
gonna be
operating on
taken care
is
of.
going to continue to
Yeah.
work.
Totally.
All of the sudden, the world is not going to say, oh my gosh, now
You're erased.
Now you're living under a bridge.
Yeah. No, it's not.
It doesn't
like
happen
that.
like that.
Yep. Yeah. It's. I was told that early on too. That we were talking about negotiating in a certain camp, and the drummer was like, "Hey, bro, you do know that means you may have to walk away because you if you're gonna be the guy that draws the line in the sand, but then erases it or steps over it or steps back,
Then you're wishy-washy. They
yeah,
can't trust you.
that's not a powerful. That's not a boss move. That's not. You're not really standing your ground. So you got to know I got something else, or I can make something else happen. I believe in myself enough to get something else. So that this has to be a if it's not working for me, I will walk away.
That's right.
Type situation. The other advice, besides speaking slowly, so that you give yourself
Love it.
time to think about the response,
Love that one.
I would say, if they put you in they kind of will put you in a corner sometimes by saying, "Well, what's your rate?" Which is some ambiguous.
I was going to bring it up.
So-
I'm glad you did.
So a great way to deflect that energy back on them and take yourself out of the spotlight for me is like, well, what are you offering?
What are you willing to play?
Pay, yeah. Or what was the last guy? Or
right.
sometimes that can be a smart move, but sometimes not. Like it's good to find out what overall the gig pays.
Or you say, what's your budget looking like for this?
But
Yeah,
basically
what do we-
deflect it
That's right.
on them and say, well, what is your offer?
Right.
What's possible?
Right.
What's the best you can
What's
do?
the best you can do? Give me some.
Because that's
Yeah.
a professional way
That's
of
the way to
saying,
handle- that's right.
give me your top dollar. Which we don't say, give me your top dollar.
That's
That's
right.
a little aggressive. We are in LA.
Nah,
but at the same time, but what's the best that the camp can do? What's the best rate that we can, or I say that we'll work something out. We can work something out.
Right.
If they, for example, you're asking me, well, what's your rate? I can say, well, I'm flexible. We'll work something out. Where can we start from?
There you go.
What's the best start?
What's the baseline?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then I'll say, well, for me, in order for me to make this
Make
work
it make
with
sense.
all this,
Right.
I would have to let's meet in the middle. You know what I mean? And try to, it's like bargaining in a way.
I feel
But-
confident
but-
we can come to an agreement.
Yeah, but in a professional way. You never really want to take it to the streets.
That's right. No.
In an email.
In an email or a phone call,
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I've been guilty of all the wrong things.
Oh, no. I've made every mistake
So
already.
I think that's part of the reason why we're here, and that is really the reason why I started this podcast, because I wanted to inform, like you said, the next generations coming up how to do it, man, and they can learn from us, learn from the guys and girls
That
who've
made
come
the
before
mistakes
you. That made the
that are-
mistakes, you know.
Yep,
Yeah.
that have had the already pitfalls.
Dmitry, this has been fantastic. Before we wrap, I want to know about the Improvisation Trio.
Yes,
Tell us
sir.
about your project and what you're doing
Okay.
as an artist and how that came about.
Got you. Okay, so just a little about us. We got together as sidemen on a gig, backing up an artist, and then discovered this amazing chemistry within this band. That's the simplest way
Love it.
to put it. We just, after playing a set, we looked at each other and went, wait a minute, this is not regular.
Yeah.
We're not just getting through a set of someone else's music.
Right.
There's magic here.
We connected
And we'd
on-
be fools to walk away from it and ignore it.
That's
This
right.
is a sign that we should be working together. We should start a band.
There you go.
And so, and the artist felt it too. So that set 2 of that the very first night was already like a crazy wave. It was amazing. And then we were just like, well, I mean, let's just start a shed. Anything. We could play in the house, but maybe we could do it in public. Same
Yeah.
thing. We just do the same thing, but just in front of people. Let's get maybe a weekly or a monthly little residency. And Donald Barrett is the name of the drummer.
Right.
Donald is kind of the OG of the band. He's the pops. So he's been here in LA on so many sessions, so
Right.
many tours. We work together all the time on all kinds of projects. The Dionne Warwick project being one of them.
Nice.
And he was like, I think I know somebody at Hotel Cafe. Let me call them up and see if, because that's a cool spot. And
That's
they got
a
a cool,
very
little,
cool spot.
great sounding little room.
Yeah.
And so me, him, and Xavier Taplin, Dominique Taplin, whichever way you might know him, X. We all got together and ended up landing this residency 3 years ago. It's already been 3 years.
Nice.
We do it usually on a Thursday, usually around 10 p.m., but only when all three of us are in town. Because Xavier tours with Toto, Donald tours with Lady Gaga.
Okay.
And so everyone is busy. But when we are all in town, we do that thing. We have one coming up March 5th.
March 5th.
So just around the corner.
Oh, that's literally in a handful of days.
Yep, exactly. And one album is out. It's under Improv Trio. The music is totally improvised on the spot. Nothing is premeditated. Nothing is predetermined. We literally just say, hey, man, how was your day? And then play the first note and play for an hour straight.
I love it.
And yeah, it's just all listening and reacting and just
beautiful, respecting
each other's musical ideas and trying to make each other sound good and complimenting each other.
It's what we do as musicians anyway.
Yes, what you should be doing the whole time, I think, right?
Yeah.
But so there's a show coming up. Improv Trio Volume 1 live at Hotel Cafe has been out for a good minute, maybe a year. Yeah, it's on all platforms. All 27 of them, or however many there are. But definitely your Spotify's, iTunes, all that, Apple Music. But we are in the process of mixing our second record. And it's actually going to be a double album because we got so much material.
Nice.
So that'll be coming out this year. And that's more of the same improvised vibe. The third album we're already planning, that'll be live in studio.
Wow.
So we'll have a little audience with maybe some headphones on. But we'll still improvise in front of them as if we were at the club. Just have a controlled, great sounding environment. So the Instagram for the band is at Improv Trio. So go on there, follow us, support, click, like, download, all that good stuff. Check out the music. Let us know. Slide in the DM and let us know what you think of the music. If you think it's whack, let us know.
Nah,
tell us.
There's nothing whack about it, man. It's beautiful.
But we have fun. We get a good response.
Yeah.
And we just try to take the people on a journey. It should always just take you to a different place than wherever we are at the moment. As far as the selfless self-promotion, what is it? Shameless self-promotion. I tripped up. Yeah. Shameless self-promotion. My IG is at Tall Bassist.
That's right.
So you can check that out. Follow both my Instagram, the band's Instagram. And I kind of always post when we're playing. A little in advance and then day of, last minute, like, today, if you have no plans, come down to Hotel Cafe.
I have yet to make it to one, but I can't wait. I am going to make it. Yeah, they're
super fun. Super fun. And I'll always post that, and then I keep it pretty professional. I stay out of my feelings on my IG and just on my business and post whatever tour I'm on, whatever artist I'm working with, TV show, records that I'm making.
It's respectable.
So you can kind of just see basically where I'm at and who I'm working with. And right now I'm here, home, off the road, chilling. Charlie's working on his next record, so I am open and available to whatever 2020 has to bring.
I love it. It's only going to bring greatness.
Yes, sir.
You know that.
I love it.
Hey, man, you have shared so many great morsels of wisdom. Typically, I wrap by saying any words of wisdom, but I feel like you kept dropping them throughout the whole thing.
I've babbled too much.
No, I think it's beautiful. So here's how we're going to go out, if you don't mind. Rapid fire questions. I don't want you to think.
Yeah.
I just want you to answer. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Now, some of these things I'm not so good at, but I want to know. Favorite sport?
Boxing.
Like it. Favorite food?
Steak.
Libation. Favorite libation. Drink.
Tito's and soda.
Oh, how do you spend your free time?
Watching Netflix, documentaries.
What are your favorite shows?
History. Anything History Channel stuff.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. What activities do you enjoy on long flights?
Sleeping, number one.
Everybody says that.
Getting rest. Right. Listening to music, for sure.
Good. Perfect segue. What's the last song you listened to that you weren't working on?
Oh, my God. Jesus.
Or artist or band, whatever. Song, artist, band.
The last song. DeBarge, I Like It.
Whoa, love it. I played that with him and Babyface.
I believe
That's
you,
crazy.
man. Yeah, it's a crazy
All right,
record.
shopping, online or brick and mortar?
Oh man, I take myself there in person.
Okay,
Yeah.
love it. And finally, not that you need to do this because you've already had so many great ones, dream collaboration.
Oh my God, Bonnie Raitt, man.
Oh, wow.
So
love that.
She's always in the front of my mind.
That's
man.
not a common one, and I love that because she's amazing.
I love her to pieces.
Amazing.
She's a dream.
Final one. What would you do if you weren't a career musician?
Auto mechanic.
Are you serious?
Immediately, yeah, there's
Look
no
at that.
question.
No hesitation.
No. If
So
I
wait.
got 2 lifetimes, I'd be turning wrenches.
So can I text you? Yo, D, my car won't start. What do you think?
You can. I mean, yeah, it's probably the starter.
Well, did you check the starter, the alternator, the battery?
There's only 3 things.
I'm kidding.
Yep.
I would never do that to you.
But I did work at Toyota as a mechanic for a minute.
Really?
Yeah, so like I dabbled in it. Yeah. I got fired and went back out on the road. What else is new?
I love it. Dmitry Gorodetsky, tall bassist.
Yes, sir.
I really appreciate you being here.
Man, I really appreciate being here. Thank you for having me. It's been a total blast.
Absolutely.
I enjoyed myself.
Go behind the scenes with host Nomad to gain inside knowledge of entertainment business from the world's leading musicians, artists, producers, managers, and more.
I'm just a nomad, nowhere man, writing the songs in this one-man band. A nomad, yeah, I'm a nomad. Hush now, darling, you'll be fine. I'll be back this way sometime. Until then, baby, don't you cry. 'Cause I'll be calling.
Hey, this is Nomad, host and creator of the Career Musician Podcast, and I am thoroughly stoked to be an official member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Pantheon Podcast Network is the first of its kind as an all-music-based podcast collective. Please be sure to check us out at pantheonpodcast.com for more info.